Welcome back, knitters. I'm back. I have tons of works to update you on all of my summer knitting as well as some of my spring knitting. Thank you so much for tuning back in, and let's dive in. Hello and welcome to Hattie Knits Along. My name's Allison, but my friends call me Hattie, and I'm a knitter living here in the Pacific Northwest. On this channel, I like to talk about all things knitting, what I'm working on, what you're working on, and what we are currently nerding out about. So if that sounds like something you're into, I hope you subscribe so you never miss a video. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who's continued to check out my channel while I've been on a little bit of a break. Things have been so busy in my life, and I want to keep this channel light and fun and entertaining and not stressful for myself. So I had to take some time off. I want to say I barely had time for knitting, but as I catch you up on all my projects, you might not agree with me. But anyways, let's see. What should we start? As many of you know, I get Farmer's Daughter Fibre's Sock Squad subscription every month, and it's my goal to keep up with that subscription every month and make, well, I want to say socks, but you'll see I don't always make socks now. At least every month use up that yarn, and so that it doesn't just keep stockpiling and then I get overwhelmed with too much sock yarn. So I've been keeping up with that, and I'll share some of my projects. I will say, I think partly because it's been warmer weather and I haven't really wanted to wear these wool socks, you'll see that I haven't even really woven in the ends or blocked them yet, but I did get them done, so I think that counts. And come the cooler months, I will definitely have these all woven in, washed, and ready to wear once it's boot season again. So the first pair is back from April. The yarn was called Sun Over the Valley, and it's in their elkhorn sock base, which I think is 80% Punta Arenas wool, which is the softest wool. I love this sock base so much. It's just feels so nice and soft. I can't really describe it beyond that. I think it's 20% nylon on top of the 80% of wool. This is the picture that inspired the yarn, called Sun Over the Valley. And I decided to do the Sweet Squish socks by Jessie Maed. So these were cool because they were a combination of cables and brioche. So the cuff has a little bit of a, let's see, has a little rolled edge, and then some twisted ribbing here, and then lots of brioche and cables on both sides. And then the foot, oh, there's even cables and brioche down the heel flap. And then cables all down the foot and brioche on top, but then plain stockinette on the bottom, which I like. I think I don't want to be walking on brioche like that. So they are very squishy, and with this really soft yarn, they just make for super cozy socks and very cute. So I've got two socks. These ones I did weave the ends in. I think I've worn these ones already. So that is the Sweet Squish socks by Jessie Maed. The next socks I want to talk about were from May. The May socks were in their Bighorn sock base, which is a more typical sock yarn with superwash merino and stuff. It still feels great, but it's just not as soft as the Elkhorn sock base. And the picture that inspired this month was called Spring Bear. Here's what it looks like. So I think they went off the blue color. I didn't use the mini skein, so I don't remember which color was the mini skein for this one, but it might have been an orange color. I decided to do a sock pattern that I already had on hand, and it was part of Summer Lee's In Bloom sock set. So in that sock set, I think there are 3 or 4 different patterns, and I've already done a couple of them. I really like them. This one's super pretty because it's just a really pretty cuff. It even has some like waviness on the top because of the lace work that you do. And then everything else is simple, like a slip stitch heel, and everything else is stockinette. So it goes by really fast once you get through that cuff. And I love doing the lace. It's really pretty. It's like a leaf, a heart-shaped leaf, maybe like a monstera leaf or something. If you think of the name of the sock set being In Bloom, she's definitely inspired by floras and yeah. Oh, and this was my first time doing baubles too, I think. And those turned out so cute. So here are my 2 socks from May, and really happy with this pattern. Of course, you know, it makes it so easy when you're just doing simple like vanilla on the bottom because I know my stitch count works. I know the needle size I need and how long I need to make them. So I can just fly through these pretty quick when I'm doing that. So it's nice having just a little bit of interest on the cuff and then the rest being simple mindless knitting. Next we have the June socks, and I decided to do another Summer Lee pattern that I already had. And it is part of her, what is that sock set called? It might be called like Hey Sailor or something like that because they're all kind of like nautical themed. But this pattern in that set is called Scattered Pearls. First, let me tell you about the yarn. This is in Farmer's Daughter Fibre's Highwood sock base, and the picture, here's the picture, is called Twin Rattlesnakes. And this one I did use the mini skein and the full skein to get, so this one I did not weave in ends, but this is called Scattered Pearls. I don't know, because this yarn is pretty variegated, I don't know that you get to see the stitch pattern very well. But the reason why it's called Scattered Pearls is because there are little pearl stitches scattered amongst the knit stitches. So for the most part, it is a vanilla sock with a really tall ribbed cuff, which I enjoy. And then this one has an afterthought heel. So, or I guess Summer Lee calls it a forethought heel because you do place a lifeline where you want the heel and then you pick it out later. I haven't always been a big fan of the way afterthought heels fit, but I know that now, so I don't try to use the same needle. I always use pretty much always use a size 1 DPN when I'm knitting socks, and so for the heel, I believe I used a 1.5 instead of a 1, and I believe I also knit a few rounds of just plain knit stitches before I started doing the decreasing for the heel, which I think gives my heel a little more space, which is what I need. I think I have a high arch, and so my heel needs a little more room in socks, which is why heel flapping gusset work really well for me, but other types of heels have not been as successful. But because I thought about it and have had experience with it, I know that doing that with the bigger needle was going to work, and it did, and it was really fun. I actually finished the heels before I finished the toe because I wanted to. I guess. I did these on a road trip. We drove from Oregon to California in a 10-hour drive in one day. And then we did like 2.5 week road trip around California, and we did a lot of driving. So these were my road trip socks, and they worked out great. And so when I knew I was going to be in the car for a really long time and I could focus, I did the heels on the socks because, yeah, it didn't, that took a little more brain power, but I had that time in this car to focus on those socks, and it was really fun, and it was cool when they came out. Plus, I was visiting a lot of friends and family, and I think it's fun to show off socks because they always look really magical, even though they're pretty easy to do. We are now heading to the end of July, and I'm going to show you July's socks. We're back to that Elkhorn sock base, which is the 80% Punta Arenas merino, and I love it. So I didn't feel like making socks this month. I don't know why. I really just didn't feel like it. This color is really pretty, but it wasn't inspiring me for socks. I couldn't think of a pattern I wanted to do. Here's the picture first. It's called Sights on the Horizon. And here's the yarn. So you could see it is highly variegated, mostly white with lots of blues, like greenish blues even. And I love the colors in it. I think it's really pretty. But yeah, I wasn't inspired to make socks this month. I think that's okay. As long as I use the yarn every month, I'm okay with it. So instead I wanted to find a little scarf pattern. Not that I want to wear a scarf right now in this summer weather, but I know I will like it in the winter. And the pattern I ended up finding that I really liked is not a new pattern, but it's a pattern by Amy Christoffers, or Savory Knitting, as many of you know her. I love her pressed flowers patterns, and I've knit a bunch of those, but this is called Ghost Flowers. It's kind of the opposite of pressed flowers in that there are flowers in the pattern, but they are made out of eyelets instead of mosaic knitting. So can you see all the pretty flowers? It's so addicting to knit. It is really simple. It's mostly garter stitch, so if I bring it up close, you could see. It's all garter stitch in between the flowers, and then the flowers are just double yarn overs. And I decided to hold it. She said you can knit it any weight you want. If you can hear my kids, I'm sorry, but right up this side of the door. You can knit it any weight you want, any gauge. It's a really flexible, but I'm helping it double with this little mohair that is mostly white, but has a few little tiny specks of color in it. This is Mighty Mo by Farmer's Daughter Fibers. I had this from a gift I knit for my mom a couple of years ago. I knit her a cowl. She just wanted a single strand of mohair cowl, and I didn't love making that, but it was very pretty, lacy, and she does wear it, so I appreciate that. But anyways, when you buy a skein of mohair, there's just so much yardage in it, so making one cowl, I had a ton of leftover of this, and I figured if I held it with this sock yarn, I could get a nice size little, kerchiefy scarf. My goal is to make it to, I think, 10 flowers across. So when you start in a triangle and you do increases along the way, because it has this really pretty eyelet border as well. And that's how you're increasing to make it the triangle shape. So the first row has one flower, or not row, but the first pattern repeat has one flower, then two, then three. So what am I at now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm at 8 flower repeats, and it's about this long. You know, it's bunched up on the cable, but 8 flower repeats. So I think I'm going to try to get to 10 flower repeats, and then probably bind off after that. It calls for a sewn bind off, which I have not sure how that works, but even though this is variegated yarn, I still think you can see the flowers really well, and I love the colors of it. I think it'll be fun to wear in the cooler months. It's definitely mohair-y feeling, so I don't want this on my neck right now in the warm weather. But in the cool months, I will love it, or maybe I'll gift it to somebody, but I've just really enjoyed making it. And oh, what's really fun is that I have it inside of my Flock Fibre Festival project bag that I purchased. I pre-ordered it, so I am filming this today. It is July 27th, 2025. So Flock Fibre Festival is, I believe, yeah, August 8th through 10th. So it's in a couple of weeks, and I am going to go to it. I'm really excited to participate in that again this year. And they have you pre-order merch. I think you can buy it once you're there, but you know, to avoid having to wait in a really long line, you could pre-order merch, and I just got this a few weeks ago. I got my project bag, and I got a really cute t-shirt. They changed the logo this year, so it's really cute. It has all sorts of fiber arts represented on here, and it's a perfect little bag for this project. So I'm really enjoying this bag and getting excited for the flock. So let me know down below if you will be attending flock. I'm going with my husband, who does not knit, but is a very sweet supporter, and it's a fun time for us to be able to get away and have a little weekend, just the two of us. It's also going to be our 10-year wedding anniversary, so we're going to be doing some celebrating that way, not just knitting. And I think I'm taking one class at Flock this year. I think I'm taking a class on photographing your knits, so let me know if you are in that class as well. On July 29th, I believe, Stephen West is starting his 3rd annual surprise sock along, which is similar to his mystery knit along that he does in the fall. That is for a shawl, but this is just for a pair of socks, and he's done it the last 2 Julys, and I have also participated in that. I'll throw some pictures up of my socks from the last 2 years. I really enjoy this. He gives out a little clue, one clue a week for 4 weeks, so it's not a huge time commitment, and it's enough time where a week is enough time to do both socks, and finish that clue, and then, you know, so you can keep up with it. It doesn't feel too hard to keep up with. And so I'm going to use my August yarn for that. I don't know what it looks like yet. I haven't gotten it yet. I think I should be getting it probably on the 29th. So I know that I'm going to need more than just that color. I think I'm going to need 4 or 5 colors. So I'm going to, you know, play around with my stash. This basket right here is all sock yarn, so I have plenty to dig through to see what goes with whatever I get, but I'm definitely going to use what I get for August, and I'm really excited to cast that on. So I hope that I can bring you along on that journey, especially on Instagram. I'll probably be posting updates on there. When I went to California, I visited this really cool shop in Alameda in the Bay Area, and it was called Recrafting, and it's like a consignment shop for art supplies, which I think is a genius idea because who doesn't have stash beyond what they are able to use, right? So this store has tons of yarn, and it's really fun because a normal yarn shop would not be able to stock this many brands of yarn. It would just be impossible because you have to buy a certain amount of inventory to stock it at a normal yarn store. But this yarn store, they might just have one skein of one brand because that's what somebody wanted to sell at their consignment shop. So I got to squeeze and feel so many different brands that I had never seen before, had only seen online, and that was really fun. And I ended up buying this Life in the Long Grass sock yarn, which is like this really pretty blue gray color with some brown speckling in it. And normally this costs, or whenever the person bought it at Main Street Yarns, which I don't know where that is, it costs $30.99, and I bought this for $15. So it's definitely a good deal buying it on consignment because it's a brand new. I mean, it's never been used, never been opened. So I love this. It's the color is called pewter. That's what it says. But it says it's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. In Stephen West's like little sneak peeks of this pattern, he is using a lot of different variegated yarns, and so that's part of why I picked up this yarn, because I was like, maybe I could use it for the surprise sock along. Oh look, this part has like some oranges and yellows. Yeah, really neat. So, I don't know if I'll be able to match it with whatever comes in the sock subscription, but I will do my best. Before I keep talking about all my other makes, I want to talk about today's video sponsor, which is Unraveled. Unraveled are the makers of beautiful all-in-one knitting kits that you can order online. They are great for a project that you just want to have everything you need right there and ready to go, and really high quality products. You can buy them as a gift for somebody who is just getting into knitting, or if you want something for yourself that you don't have to think about too hard, you can get it for yourself. I mean, they have all kinds of different levels of projects. The thing that I'm knitting from them is their essential blanket kit, and it is so wonderful to work on. Let me see. It has a beautiful I-cord edge that I have definitely talked about before. Um, and then it's just all garter stitch. And the yarn is an alpaca blend yarn. I have loved working on this when I just need something to zone out on that I don't have to think too hard about, but I know I'm going to love the finished product. And Unraveled is generous enough to offer my viewers 10% off. So you can find the link in my bio to click on that, or you can enter the code Hattie Knits Along when you check out to get 10% off. So thank you, Unraveled, and I can't wait to finish up this blanket. Okay, we have a few more projects to fill you in on. And one of them was a really fun test knit that I recently did for Alicia Plummer. I think her title on, or her username on Ravelry is Tiny Plum Knits or Little Plum Knits. Well, maybe it's Little Plum Knits. Anyways, Alicia Plummer. She is a wonderful human being. She lives in Maine and she designs some really classic beautiful sweaters, mostly sweaters, but I did test knit some socks for her as well. So she does do socks. But this sweater is really interesting. It's called, all right, so I don't know if you pronounce it. I've only seen it written, but it's SOTE. So maybe you would pronounce it SOTA or SOTE, but also that stands for salt of the earth. So maybe it's just SOTE, salt of the earth. Anyways, that's the name of this sweater that she designed using Wool Dreamers Manchelotes, which is an unspun yarn from Spain. This is what a plate of Manchelotes looks like. And it comes double, well, with 2 strands held double. So I guess you could technically knit 1 strand at a time, but she called, in the pattern it called to hold them double. I learned a lot about knitting with unspun yarn. This was my first chance to use unspun yarn, and it has a very soft and rustic feel to it, but it also is so lightweight. This is 100 grams, so this is the same as a typical skein of yarn in weight. When you knit with unspun, it's a good idea to hand wind like this size, like softball size balls off of the plate, because this yarn is so, it has no ply to it whatsoever, no spin to it. So it just like shreds apart so easily. So if your yarn gets caught on anything while you're knitting, you rip it so fast that you don't even realize it. It's really easy to like splice it back together also though, because it's such a rustic yarn, such a rustic wool. It splices very easily, so if you do rip it, it's not a big deal. You can just splice it back together and keep going. But yeah, you had to learn a lot about being gentle. I'm a pretty tight knitter usually, so I definitely had to learn how to hold my yarn a little looser, and not pull on it and make all these little balls. This, I bought 4 plates of yarn, and so 400 grams for this sweater, and I didn't even finish 3 of them. I have this much left of the third one. So this is less than 300 grams for a whole sweater. So when I tell you it is light, it is so light. But I do think it is quite warm. Unspun yarn holds a lot of air. Air acts as an insulator, so it holds warmth to you. It can trap the warm air against your body. So it is quite warm. She just released this a couple of weeks ago, so it's not necessarily a good summertime sweater, but it would be fun to knit in the summer and then have in the cooler weather months. It has this really pretty stitch pattern that is very easy to memorize, although you knit most of it flat. Might have some pictures of me seaming it, but yeah, you knit the front panel and the back panel, and you seam them together, and you do this really cool shoulder seaming. Let's see if I can get it to show. And then you pick up stitches for the collar, and you do a folded over collar. And then you pick up stitches for the sleeves, and you knit the sleeves in the round. So when you do knit the sleeves in the round, you have to kind of relearn the stitch pattern, because it's definitely different knitting it in the round than knitting it front and back, wrong side and right side and wrong side. What is that? Flat. knitting it flat. I decided to, she actually says, I think in the directions to knit the sleeves first, but I decided to knit the collar first because I thought that that would help me judge how long to knit my sleeves for, without, because it kind of holds it up a little higher once the collar is on there. And yeah, I liked knitting this. It didn't take me that long to knit it, but I did have like a long break, maybe like a month of a break where I wasn't knitting it at all because I had finished the front and back panel and I was just dreading having to seam it together. I knew that that was going to take some time. But I dedicated an afternoon to it, and I mean, I don't think it took me a whole afternoon to do, but I watched a show and sat on the floor and seamed it together, and it wasn't too bad. When you do seam, you don't want to use the unspun yarn because that just won't have the integrity you need to hold those sides together. So I had this yarn that was just like a fingering weight yarn that was a similar kind of oatmeal color, and that worked great. As you can see, I have not really woven in the ends on this either. But I got some cute pictures and I can show you those too. I am excited to wear this because it's a nice neutral, and I don't own a lot of neutral sweaters, so I think this will be good in the cooler months to layer and throw on for a little bit of a more neutral look. Oh, I know something else I have. Um, I have this shirt that I'm wearing. I just finished this last week. This is the Outline Tee by Jessie Made, and it is made in Ritual Dyes Undine. Yeah, Ritual Dyes Undine, which is a fingering weight yarn. Okay, this is Ritual Dyes Undine. 40% or 60% organic cotton and 40% linen. It's fingering weight, so 382 yards and 100 grams. Every summer, well, actually, I don't know if it's every summer, but Ritual Dyes was doing an Undine make-along, so you could make anything with their Undine yarn, and they also have an Undine DK weight. So this is the fingering weight, but they also have DK weight, and you can enter it on their Ravelry page or on Instagram or both. And there's some fun prizes that they're going to be offering shortly. I believe that today is the last day to enter, so it's too late if you're seeing this, but it's always fun to enter make-alongs, and I love using the Undine yarn. I've made a couple of things with it, and I saw this color called Dragon Fruit, and I just needed to have it, this hot pink color. In fact, it also inspired my nails today, as you can see. I decided to knit as a medium for the Outline Tee, and this shirt is quite cropped, and she tells you that in the pattern. You knit it bottom up, so you have to be prepared. Do you want to go quite cropped, or do you want to add extra length to it? And I just went along with the pattern specs, which I believe is 8 inches from the hem to the underarm. Let's see if I can show you full body. So here it is. I'm wearing some pretty high-waisted jeans here, so the crop doesn't bother me. What's so cool about the Outline series, and I've talked about this in my Jessie Made video, is that you drop stitches intentionally. So at the bottom, after you do the hem, which is a twisted rib, you do some knit two togethers and yarn overs to kind of start, or to have a little stopping point for your drop stitches. And then you have stitch markers to tell you where your drop stitches are going to go, but you don't drop them until you get to the top. So you have to hope that you are keeping your stitch counts good and not messing up that, which I didn't, but you do kind of hold your breath every time you have to drop one of the stitches. But it gives it this really cool look. It's also got it in the back and down the sides. For me, styling this, I prefer to put a tank underneath just because I'm a mom, whatever. I don't need to be showing off my midriff. But, you know, of course, I don't mind if other people wear theirs that way. I think that it looks cool either way. And, yeah, this pink color is super fun. The drape on the undine is really nice with cotton and linen blend. It's great for summertime, very lightweight. Fingering weight yarn, it did take a while to knit this. I mean, well, it took me 3 weeks, but that was 3 weeks of lots of knitting and also part of that road trip that I went on to California. So the 8 inches you do from the hem to the underarm is just stockinette in the round, so that's pretty quick going. You do some nice shoulder shaping with Japanese short rows. Do you do Japanese? No, I think you do German short rows. German short rows for the shoulder shaping, and then the sleeve. You do pick up stitches for the sleeve, but it's literally just some more twisted ribbing, like 1.5 inches of twisted ribbing. So the sleeve is really quick, and because of your shoulder shaping, it just looks nice. Um, and so, yeah, it's a fun summer tee. I think it's a little more practical for me than the outline tanks that I own. I don't have as much opportunity to wear those because I do think they are very low cut. Oh, that's the other thing I did. So the pattern says you can leave the collar unfinished, just the way that it is when you are knitting back and forth, or you could pick up and bind off one round. So I ended up picking up and binding off one round just so it didn't lie too far open. And for the most part, I like that. I like the size of the neckline, but I do think the bind off got a little weird and it looks a little ruffly right there for some reason. But oh well. I'm being nitpicky now. I really enjoyed making this. I bought 3 skeins of this and I just wound up one every time I needed it. So I only needed 2 or 1 and most of another one for the size medium. So I have an extra skein. We'll see what we're gonna do with it. I think that's everything that I have made so far. I have a few whips that I need to finish up, and I hope to do that. But I also have some new yarn that I'm eager to cast on as well. So let me show you that. So a long time ago, I'm going to say back in January, I did a pre-order through Qing Fibre. I think that's how you say it. Qing. And they are out of Germany, I think. And they did a collaboration with Kutavakika, who is a Finnish knitwear designer, and she designed something using their boucle yarn. And so I did a pre-order for that. I believe some people got their yarn like back in January, but then by the time I did the order, they weren't going to be ready to send yarn for a long time. So I didn't get this until I don't remember. It was sometime after I had stopped filming videos, so maybe sometime in May I got it. And here it is. This is the boucle yarn. So it's called, this base is called Baby Teddy. and it is 65% baby alpaca, 35% silk. They are 50 gram skeins and 325 meters. This color is called Peachy Pink. And this color is called Blueberry Foam. And this color is called Berry Jam. Lots of fruity themes here. So, the pattern, maybe I could post a picture. It's mostly going to be, it's going to be like a little vest. And it's mostly going to be this peachy pink color. I have 4 skeins of that. And then there's going to be some color pops with the blue and the red, which I think is very cute. I got this little bag and I have no idea what's in it actually. I have not opened this all the way. I was kind of waiting to film an unboxing, but I wanted to look at it a little bit. Let's see. Okay, so there's gonna be buttons on this vest, and so it just has some really cute pink buttons. And then it has the prettiest flower stitch markers. That one is blue, but then there's also pink one. Pink. Oh, look at this blue one. Pinks and blues. And like the cutest little leather pouch that says Qing Fibre Kutabakika. And then we also got this, oh my gosh, adorable project bag. So it's not very big, but this is like a sleeveless vest, so that's okay. And it has like drawstring here, so pull it tight so you don't lose anything. And that also says Qing Fibre Kutabakika. So that is exciting. It has strawberries and blueberries, which is perfect for the names of this yarn. Alright, so I'll try to find a picture of what the pattern is going to look like. Oh, it's called the Breakfast Club Vest. Here we go. I could post a better picture of it too, but you could see how it's mostly pink, and then it has the red along the armholes and the blue along the neckline and the button band, and pink buttons. Very cute. Yeah. I got enough yarn for the size large, I believe. But my measurements might have changed since then. So the vest is supposed to have about 2 to 4 inches of positive ease. Yeah, I think I'm somewhere between a medium and a large, so I'll have to play around with my gauge and see how that goes. And anyways, that was my little Qing Fibre unboxing. And yeah, what else? I'm just checking all my project bags now. Well, yeah, this is my Mozart pullover, which has no updates since I last showed it to you. And this is my anthology throw, which also has no updates since I last showed it to you. And what's this? This is just a bag of yarn. Anyways. Oh, I think I also have my, what is this thing called? This one. What did I call this? It's by Andrew Mowry. It's the name Oh, frame your face cowl. That's what it's called. So cute though, right? Like look at that black and white. That is awesome. I gotta get back to work on that. Anyways, I got lots of stuff to work on here. I got the socks coming up, finishing up that scarf, the ghost flower scarf. I've got that cowl to finish, Mozart pullover to finish, my Breakfast Club vest, my anthology throw, my unraveled essential blanket. So lots and lots of things to work on. Plus I have yarn for a farmhand sweater and a nebula tee by Andrea Mallory. So I've got a lot to work on, and I'm gonna go to Flock in a couple of weeks, and I need some ideas of projects that I might want to stock up for. But I probably shouldn't buy too much because I have quite a bit that I need to get through right now. Anyways, I love talking to you guys again. I'm so happy to be back. I can't guarantee when my next video is going to come out, but I hope to do some filming at Flock and at least show you what I pick up there. If you happen to see me, I hope that you say hi. I would love to meet you. And if you have any ideas for me, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Also, let me know what you are working on because it's been a while and I want to have some updates from all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, happy knitting. Bye.